Damn, I know you guys saw that picture I posted on Instagram of this AX1 deck. Pretty. Hell, if she had a set of legs, it'd be on. But the vape experience I get off this is pretty disappointing. So the build I have in this AX1 is a dual 24 gauge Canthal 0.3 ohm build. Each wrap is wrapped around a 332nd drill bit. I'm vaping at 27.5 watts and I got the airflow wide open. So before I go over the pros and the cons, I'm going to go ahead and dive down, show you this thing up close and personal. We'll come back, talk about those pros and cons. I'll let you know how much this thing is. If I'd have lost this thing today, would I go out tomorrow and buy one? Alrighty, so here's the AX1 packaging. It's got this little box sleeve around the box on the inside, slides out like so. Oh yeah, and that sticker right there is your serial number, or my serial number. Pop the lid inside. Ooh, what do we got? We got a user manual. And this manual's got a breakdown of everything. Shows you recommended wire gauges, your parts, how to assemble your parts, and then down here it's got a coil position guide. Shows you how to install your coils, how to position your coils. But underneath that manual, you got the Viscous Ant AX1 RDA by Sector 1 Vapors. Take that sucker out. We'll get to this in a second. But underneath that, you got a little pouch for extra goodies. You receive 2 extra O-rings and 2 extra Phillips head screws. So here's a close-up look at this AX1. Few specs for you. She's 22 millimeters in width and she's 25 millimeters in height. She is constructed of 304 grade stainless steel. Here are the 510 threads. It's got a non-adjustable, non-protruding, pretty much non-protruding 510 pin. I mean, it protrudes barely. I mean, that's about even. So you're not going to be able to use it on your hybrid top cap devices, your hybrid top cap mechanical mods. 510 threads, smooth, smooth, smooth. At the base it says made in the Philippines, and over here it says manufactured by Viscous Ant Precision Engineering and Research Incorporated. And then up top they've got this integrated Delrin drip tip. It's pretty much built in. I mean, I have not been able to get this thing off, but the bore all the way through is 9 millimeters. Top cap and barrel come off like so. And then this piece right here, the drip tip and then the top cap, that's all one piece and that comes out. So with this device, you can either run it in dual coil mode, like you guys see with the 2 slots parallel, or single coil mode. It's got the single O-ring up here. And here's the barrel section. You got 2 slots, one on one side, one on the other. So if you want to run this thing in dual coil mode or dual air hole mode, I'll line up the 2 slots with the top cap that are parallel with the 2 slots on the barrel that are parallel. And you can adjust by just turning this drip tip. Wide open, closure off, and it's obviously the exact same thing on the other side. Or you can run this thing in single air hole mode. Turn it. And that's single right there because it's blocked off on the other side. And you adjust it the same way. Close her off all the way, open her up halfway, open her up all the way. And it's the perfect amount of restrictiveness, especially when this O-ring, the single O-ring in here gets juiced up a little bit. So yeah, you got a total of 3 of these slots for this device, and each slot is 1.5 millimeter by 6 millimeter. Alrighty, so here's the deck section. Deck section is gorgeous, man. I mean, she looks like an engine, but let's go ahead and get into it. You got a peak insulator over here, peak insulator over here, and this right here, these are your positive connections. Over here, these 2 that are milled into your deck are your negative connections. You got 4 Phillips head screws right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you got your lead terminals right over here. You pop your leads in there, screw your screws in, that's how you make your connections. You got your juice reservoir on one side, juice reservoir on the other side. 4 1mm air holes on one side, 4 1mm air holes on the other. So the airflow comes from the sides, down below on the sides, and I call these the airflow pockets. But on the other side, you got your serial number and the other airflow pocket. Okay, mine 517, single O-ring running all the way around the deck lip. I mean, she's a beaut. She is a beaut. What you want to do is you want to line up the 2 slots on the barrel and top cap with the 2 pockets on each side. Line them up. And from there you can adjust. But I like to keep her wide open. I mean, she's a tight hit from the get-go. But yeah, like I said, when you line up the air hole slots on the barrel and top cap with those pockets on each side, the airflow starts from the top, goes down through these air holes, down at the base, down at the side base, on each side, and then it comes up through these air holes underneath the coils that sit in the center. So another way of doing this, if you don't want to run the airflow from the bottom or from the top to the bottom underneath the coil, you can turn it and you can run it from the side. Alrighty, so here's the build I have in this sucker. She is a beaut, boy. I tell you what, I'm using 24 gauge Canthal. I'm wrapping this 24 gauge Canthal around a 3/32 drill bit. She's reading at around 0.3 ohms. Alright, so you got to make sure that each coil is below the negative post. Now, I mean, these are really close, but I'm getting some clearance. I mean, she's good to go. And let me tell you what, boys and girls, she is a breeze to wick. Since I'm running this thing in dual coil mode, I'm running it in dual air hole mode. Obviously, wide open is my speed, especially for this, and I'm going to line it up with the negative slots, the little pockets. So that right there is an up-close look at this AX1 RDA. Let's go ahead and take her back to FaceTime. So let's go ahead and start with the pros. I mean, did you see the deck on this device? Absolutely freaking gorgeous, a work of art. This AX1 right here is great for the vapor that is looking for an RDA with a tight draw that is a challenge to build on. I have not had this thing right here leak on me yet, and it's because the airflow starts at the top. You guys saw in the close-ups on the deck section, you got the 2 juice wells on either side. Now, because you have the 2 juice wells on either side, I find it super easy, super convenient to tuck your wick tails into those juice wells. And also, as you guys saw, this thing right here has a single coil option. She's a 22mm RDA, which means she's going to look the tits in all your 22mm mechanical mods. And for me, with all my regulated and unregulated devices, she fits great. Fits down flush, makes a connection. Oh yeah. Now the cons. The draw I get off this device, to me, is way too tight. And I know people are going to say, oh, but Rip, this is a flavor chasing Addy. That's why the draw is so tight. You know what I got to say about that? Look at the Kennedy 22. Look at the Velocity RDA. Massive airflow, phenomenal flavor, phenomenal vapor, obviously depending on how you build. Yeah, this device right here is pretty, but she's just a pretty paperweight. The vape is too hot no matter what wattage I vape at. I can't do my macro builds. Oh yeah, did I mention she's a pain in the dick to build on? The chamber, it needs to be taller. And you know how I showed you can turn it to where the airflow hits directly the wick and coil? Well, with this device, if you do that, the wick is going to be in the way. That's why it needs to be taller. The vapor I get off this is, yeah, dense, but it's nothing like the Kennedy 22 or the Velocity RDA. And the flavor off those devices is just as good, if not better than this. Of course, that's just my opinion. Personally, I like this integrated Delrin drip tip that comes with this device, but for some of you guys who prefer using your standard 510 drip tips, you're not going to be able to do so. Not with this. Price point, price point, price point. This is 120 bucks, and for me, I don't think it's worth it. Not for what you get, not for what I get out of this. So the online shop that sent this RDA to me to review for you guys is selling it for $119.99. In the description, I'll have a link to where you can find this sucker. Now on to the big question, the big answer of the day. You already know, I would not buy this. This is not my cup of tea. It's too tight. But for some of you guys out there that are looking for a tight draw, you're looking for a hot vape, this may be for you if you're willing to spend 120 bucks. This is Rip Trippers, and remember, smoking is dead, vaping is the future, and the future is now.